All right. Good to go. Okay, so thank you for being able to join me on my feature presentation here today. When I first started my business, I was thinking, who can I talk to? Where can I bring value? I had 50 contacts when I was first getting started. And yes, you can buy leads, but I was thinking, hey, where can I have a reoccurring portion of my business? And that's where, when I was driving around downtown Chilliwack, I got to see that every realtor puts their name and their face, their phone number, and their email on their sign. So I started really focusing on that home buyers process and being able to now transition that to helping sellers with their accumulation of equity. So a bit about me. So for myself, when I was taking my test, I've been a straight A student here for the entirety of high school and university here, and that's where I was able to carry that over and pass my exams with flying colors. We're going into this level, check this off, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 2023. So we're going to year 7 in business here. And that's where we've expanded our business. We saw that there was another 7 million people in Alberta. And that's where we were able to actually take our licenses and our branch manager to Alberta here. So licensed service, all of BC and Alberta, with clients ranging from Vancouver Island to Lloydminster, Alberta. And for myself, I've actually been through the process. One of our goals when we were getting our business started was to be a homeowner before we were 25, and we bought our first place just before our 20th birthday. And then as well, got to be on the seller side of it and see what it's like to hand over keys and to actually accumulate equity and see what that looks like. Then a little bit about the company and why I've partnered with the company I do. So with Primerica, they're a full service financial service company, insurance brokerage, and the primary base is education. I do a 2-appointment approach with every client I sit down with. And the first is to be able to educate on some simple concepts that were not taught in school. And this is to be able to actually capitalize on the multitude of registered accounts and grants available so that the plan can be accelerated. I mean, if you could do it all on your own and be able to find all the grants and do all the planning, that's where I'm not needed, but that's where being able to come to the power source is where you're able to accelerate your program. Then we have convenient support and professional financial reviews as life changes. So one of the lovely things that I do is every 90 days, my clients hear from me, whether it's a phone call, an email, or being able to have an actual Zoom meeting where we touch base about the plan. And then being able to protect the largest asset. So not just making money, but actually preserving what is there. Then this is the key that I meet with all my clients is we have a base document, and it's called a financial needs analysis. We're going to talk about everything that encompasses here in just a minute, but that's where having a plan versus having an account is one of the keys. Okay. So what we want to look at here is the raw numbers behind being able to be a first-time home buyer. So want to give a shout out to Freddie for giving us some live documents and live numbers here of what it takes to be able to get into the certain housing shelf that you're looking at getting into. So when I sit down with the client, they have all different numbers of what their down payment is because they talk to their friend, they talk to their bank, they talk to their broker, they talk to their uncle who bought a house back in 1983. And this is where we want to be able to give the exact down payment guide of what's needed. And that's where we can find out what the target is and what needs to be saved. So for 0 to 500,000, the minimum is 5%. So that's an easy calculation. Then it goes on a graded system from 500 to 999. So that's where you can see, hey, it could be 6.71% after you look at the first 500,000 and then that middle chunk that's at 10% on the remainder. Then once you hit $1 million, it is 20% on the entirety of the purchase. So looking at this here, you can see for an average condo, you're looking at just over 18,000. A townhouse, looking at just under 35,000, and then detached house, you're looking at a big jump to 211,000, and that's purely for your down payment completion of your mortgage. This does not account for any property tax, any property transfer tax, any closing costs, which are typically 1 to 2%, but that's where you're able to have that saved in a separate account. This is not prior for your primary down payment account. So what does this financial needs analysis be able to encompass? So we look at protection, we look at asset management, which is what we're really going to focus on and be able to accumulate to your plan systematically. Then we look at income, because when you're looking at getting into a house, that's where you want to make sure you're good before you have the house and after you have the house, and be able to look at your budget. And we look at debt resolution, making sure that your current debts are serviced in the right way, and hitting two birds with one stone is being able to look at your debt resolutions and being able to organize that prior going into your home versus after. Then we look at knowledge and being able to talk about the registered plans that are available. And there's one that has rolled out here, and we'll get to that in a moment here in 2023. So asset accumulation here on the left is being able to look at savings accounts versus investment accounts and being able to have our registered assets that are there. So one of the benefits here in Canada is that they've seen that it is harder to buy a home here in Canada. And that's where for your home buyers plan, you're able to pull out $35,000 from your RRSP and be able to pull that out tax deferred for your home. So this is where we're going to see how you can accumulate your down payment up to 30% faster in an RRSP versus doing it in a cash savings account or a tax-free savings account. And this is the math. So on the left, we have our lovely tax calculator. And on the right, we have our math behind it. So what I've taken here is an $80,000 income. And what I've included on the bottom is a $500 a month RSP contribution. And then one of the things I do for my clients is not just say, hey, let's do $500 a month. And then when you get your tax return, go spend it on shoes. My job is to actually do the math and say, hey, how can we maximize the amount you're putting in your RSP and mitigate your tax return? Because a tax return is just a 0% interest loan to the government that they are referring back to you. So you can see here is $500 a month plus the RSP savings works out to $8,237 there. And we can see over a 3-year period is the above person just put their money into their RSP in a GIC at the bank. Now, GIC rates have come up quite a bit over the past 12 months. So that's where we're just going to look at apples to apples. Interest is negligible. What this is looking at is the actual saving strategy and the difference here. So on the top, $19,457. On the bottom, $27,100. And you can see the buying power that's increased is the top individual can put a down payment on a $389,000 home, whereas the person at the bottom can be able to put a down payment of $521,000 home. So just like Freddie talked about here last week, is being able to accumulate real estate and being able to use his services. In this case here, I've essentially helped this client be able to afford just over $140,000 more of home. That's quite a bit of home. So speaking of acquiring your first home, we now have a new registered account here in Canada, and it's called a First Home Savers account. So what this is here, it mitigates the question of, do I do tax-free savings so that I don't have to repay it, or do I do RSP so I get a tax deduction? So what this is the combination of the both, and being able to allow you to essentially get a free tax deduction for your First Home Savers account, and they can be layered on top of each other. So a couple of the highlight details here on the left is that you get $8,000 in room per year. Now it says $40,000 lifetime, but that's going to take 5 years to accumulate. So for a client that's meeting with me here this year, they have 35,000 room in their RSP. They have 8,000 in their First Home Savers account. That means they can essentially have $43,000 available for their down payment. So that First Home Savers account can be opened. We're going to be live on our system here in April. We don't have the ability from the government here yet to actually open up these accounts here for clients, but just a little sneak peek to the tools given to us to be able to open up those accounts. Then we look at the convenience support. So you've opened up your account. Now, what does this look like? Or how do you actually get started? So for myself, just like a realtor and mortgage broker, there's no consultation fee. I'm paid from the services that are provided. So specifically on the investment side is I get paid on a performance basis. If your investments do well, I prosper. If your investments don't do well, I suffer. So that's on an asset under management basis. Then I'm open for phone calls in the office and in home appointments there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Thursday. And then that's where you can always catch me on an email or a text message here 24/7. I currently have, and I'm very thankful to say this here, we've crossed the 700 client platform here personally. And then the company is just over 7 million clients that are happy with their services. And the reason why we've been able to accumulate so many clients is because we don't just have to be 30 minutes from the office. We are able to work all over BC and Alberta and can set up accounts over Zoom from the comfort of your own home. So want to say thank you for being able to attend my feature presentation. Phone number is there. Email is on the bottom right there. And be able to set up a consultation is a Zoom meeting away. So thank you everybody for attending the feature presentation. And I'd love to field any questions that we have.